Hey, welcome to Recovered by Christ. My name is Jay, and I just want to take a minute to really outline who I am and what I'm trying to accomplish on this channel. And so, the first and chief thing that you need to know about me is I'm a Christian. And I'm not saying that in like the typical American way. And that's not a dig on anybody. That's just to say, look at it like this. I was a Christian my whole life, but I did not experience biblical Christianity until about 8 years ago. Something clicked in me and it just hit. And I'm like, okay, this is real and I want it. And I pressed into the Bible and it became a prism of sorts, and it funneled into all these different lights that are expressed in my life pretty much, and I would think of the lights maybe as fruit of the spirit, like love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control, goodness. Like all these things are in my life now and they weren't in the past. And that actually leads to this second key dynamic of who I am, which is I'm a man in recovery. I had a 13-year addiction that it did not skip any of the variables that you've probably heard about: diseases, homelessness. My family wouldn't let me around because they knew I was going to burn them. Like everything that's wrong with addicts, I was a thief. I was unemployed. I was, all of it. I had no morals. My morality had drifted so far beyond my own boundaries that I was doing things I made a promise to myself I would never do. And so you really got to understand that it's actually in that space that I found Jesus. And I sold out and I said, if I could go this hard for drugs and it led me here, I'm going to go this hard for Christ and see where he takes me. And it was real. And that was about 8 years ago. And so those two key dynamics are really what inspired me to call this channel Recovered by Christ. Because the reality is my whole life has been recovered by Christ. My whole life is about these two things: recovery and Christ. And I think you're going to find a lot of that. Like I would say maybe even like a greater 80 to 90% of the content I produce in this channel is going to come from those two perspectives alone. Ideally, those two things influence everything. If you're really rocking with your program and you really standing on business in your faith, it changes everything. It doesn't matter where you work, where you live, how you play, what you eat, who you hang out with. None of that changes your program and your faith. It's actually the opposite. My faith and my program change what I eat, who I'm with, all this stuff. And I'll just tell you now, when I say what I eat, I'm not talking about, oh, I don't eat pork or I don't do this, but I try to watch how I take care of my body because I want to live a longer life and I want my liver to get its health back. I don't want to, lose my life in a shorter span than I'm supposed to because of how hard I was on my body for 13 years. Like I want to be able to recover from that. And I'm being recovered by Christ as I partner with him in obedience in every little area. And so that's really a strong foundation for who I am. And it sets you up to see who I am as a third person, which is a husband. So I am over 3 years married. It's not long. So if you're chuckling, yeah, me too. 3 years has been rough enough. My wife and I have went through significant tragedy in these first 3 years. Multiple people that are lifelong, I want to call them friends, but there's like a friend that's closer than a brother. I've lost one of those. I've lost my literal brother. And then I have had a couple other people that were just like people that I hung out with have passed away as well. And so that's just been a strong narrative in these past 3 or 4 years. And my wife has had to walk through that with me. And then you add that to the fact that I'm a provider. I'm taking care of my family financially, which means I have a job and all these things. And I'm going through a level of grief that I was unprepared for. My wife is a rock star for hanging in there, but also like marriage is hard. One of the things my wife tries to get me to focus on the most is communication. In my addiction, you don't communicate about nothing, bro. Like everything's a secret because I don't want you to catch on. You'll either bust me or find out I'm lying. And so to be with a wife who wants you to communicate every nuance of emotion and thought so that she can understand her husband. Like, that's been a big adjustment for me. And so I've got a lot of situations where I'm just like learning about how to be a better husband. And I'm like, why is this so hard? And as I learn, I'm like, I want to make this more accessible, like so other people don't have to learn the hard way. And then the third thing, or yeah, that is the fourth. I'm sorry. The fourth thing about me that's just really foundational is I'm a father. Like, I have a miniature human being right now that's whole life depends on what I'm doing today. Like, you've got to process what it means to be a parent. I don't care if your child is 10, 5, or 1, or a teenager or an adult. Everything you do cast implications into their life. The things you don't do cast implications into their life. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You are always pouring something into your child's life. And so I am constantly aware of that and reflecting on, what am I pouring into my child? How are they responding to me? How are they not responding? And what am I doing that's positioning them mentally, emotionally, or physically in a place where this is what their subconscious mind is telling them to do? Like, my son is so young that he's not actually processing in a cognitive way. Like, he doesn't think, oh, I want to be disobedient in this thing. He feels and he acts. And so I'm doing something that has made him feel that way, or taught his subconscious that that's how he responds to the feeling. And so I'm always aware of that. And so that's another dynamic. You're really going to see it play in this channel. And the reality is, I'm not trying to be a self-help guru. You're going to find those all over the internet: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or X, or whatever, you name it. They're going to be on there. These 5 tips will make you a better dad. Do these 10 things and your wife will go crazy for you. And I'm just like, bro, it's not that though. Like, we are not cookie cutter. There are absolute truths in my perspective, and those are biblical truths. But everything else is subject to the person. Like, we're not robots, and everything is going to need a certain measure of finesse or tact, right? And so I'm always learning. I'm watching like verified people. Like, I'm not just going to go watch people do presentations or podcasts or whatever if there's no clout to their word. But I'm watching and studying the teachings of verified people. I read a lot. I do a lot of time praying and meditating on the Bible. I've mentored more people than I have. Like, I don't count. I just mentor people as they come into my life. And when they leave, I hope they're better equipped. So a lot of this perspective I have is from this process of hungering to learn for myself, partnering with other people to help them apply certain information and tactics into their life to empower them to succeed. And honestly, I'm one of those people. So a lot of it is trial and error from me. And so I really wanted to create a space in the internet where I could share my testimony. I could share my experiences, strengths, and hopes with the intention of making myself available to people that will never meet me. And that might not go very well. I might have like 3 viewers the rest of my life, and I make like 15 videos and tap out. Or I might just keep doing it and have a quiet audience. Or maybe, I get a few groups of people that tap in, and this thing kind of turns into something unexpected. In all cases, I'm trying to express those 4 phases of who I am, which is a Christian dad who loves his wife and is trying to stay sober. And the reality is, I haven't felt the need or the desire to drink or drug in over 7 years. That first year was a little rocky, but I've got a strong program. I believe it. Like, I've went through the death of one of the closest relatives to me, and my recovery didn't collapse. I didn't even go have 1 drink. I didn't have, nothing. I stayed rock solid. And I'm not saying it was easy, but I'm saying that told me when I got through the fire, I'm still dealing with it, of course, but when I got through the fire of it and I was still sober and I didn't relapse even on a micro level, I was like, all right, we're good. I was like, this thing is so hard that happened and it didn't even crack the foundation. And so some of that is just who I am, but some of it is what I feel I've learned that other people can pick up through just discussion. And so that's what I'm going to be doing on this. I've got friends who I think are amazing. I go to them for counsel. They share perspective. They spend a significant amount of time studying and meditating and in debate dialogues with other people, trying to sharpen their intellect as well. I hope to maybe get some of them in here and discuss topics that I know they're well versed in. I might bring my wife in sometimes to just share perspective. But in all cases, just know the definition of this channel is we're trying to see the situations that we encounter in life recovered by Christ, whether that's your marriage, because listen, marriage is not easy. Some days you're like, God, this is not what you called marriage to be. And I know it. I need you to recover this marriage for me, Jesus. Some days it's like, man, I'm not being the dad that I want to be. I want my relationship with my son to become recovered by Christ so that I can follow the template of the Father. Because Jesus says, if you've seen me, you've actually seen the Father. And so I need to see Jesus in my relationship with my son, and that will relate to me as a father because I'll see the Father in Jesus, and that'll make me a better father, right? And so there's this dynamic that being in addiction to anything, whether it be shopping or food or working out or the unspeakables that I've experienced in my life, you need Christ to recover you. Like I'm telling you, it is by grace that you're going to be saved from that addiction. And that grace comes through faith. There's nothing that you'll ever do that can equate to that level of salvation. It's by grace through faith. And it's crazy because God does it this way on purpose. He does it this way so that you can't boast as the addict. And in that, he gets all the glory for redeeming you. And I want to see you recovered by Jesus Christ in the glory of God. I want to see that for you, right? And there's this reality where Christianity gets stale, okay? I've been a leader in the church circuits for like 7 years now, which really isn't long. I've been mentored by people who are like decades and decades in. But my point is, I've seen so many people asleep to their own faith. And it's not that they have bad belief. It's just that they're asleep. And that needs to be recovered by Christ. Like, honestly, your faith should be recovered by Christ so that it's on fire. Jesus said, I wish the world were on fire. Like, that's a crazy verse to imagine God incarnate made a wish. I'm like, okay, all right, Jesus, what's your wish, man? Like, how can I partner with you? You've done so much for me. How do I help you accomplish your wish? You know, like you're God and you have a wish. I still can't wrap my head around that. And Jesus in that moment actually says, I came to bring a fire. I actually wish that it were kindled now, but I have a baptism to undergo. And he's talking about the cross. And that after the cross, the fire of the Holy Spirit comes in and lays on the laps of the disciples and really shifts their ministry into apostleship, if you ask me. Jesus desires that for you, that the fire of the Holy Spirit would not just come upon you, but would fill up within you. It's called the indwelling for a reason. And so I want to see your faith recovered by Christ so much so that it reflects that. And so I don't know, some episodes might feel like recovery episodes. Some might feel like Christianity. Some might feel like Father. Some might feel like marriage. Some might feel like all of them. But I will always try to keep the topics relevant. And I'm not just, I want to say this one more time as I close. I'm not just down here making stuff up, trying to get my opinion out there so I can make a quick buck. Like, I'm employed, okay? I'm trying to share things that took a lot of pain, hard work, and experience for me to acquire. And I hope I hope that you can experience an increase in your understanding of Jesus Christ and the gospel narrative, in your understanding of living free from chains that this world is constantly trying to shackle you down with. That's addiction. Living free in your marriage, reflecting the glory of God, because God desires marriage. It actually reflects Christ in the church. And so even if you're an unbeliever, like, hang out, hear what I've got to say. I probably will be able to kind of coach you through your marriage in a way that reflects the Bible and can show you that this thing is real, right? I'm not asking you to have blind faith, but hear me out, man. And that's the final thing, is like, I might just, have some truth in the fact that I'm a father, right? And I'm not got a bunch of kids. There's someone that knows more. But for me, I've got a pretty unique expression of fatherhood, and I want to share that with you, and maybe that can help you grow. And so if you continue to watch, thank you. And if you ever find that you're empowered by these videos, let me know. Positive feedback is always good. But in any case, may God bless you, and may you find success on the journey.